Riley Stillman, just what do you know about him? What intrigues you? How do you see him fitting in?
It's great in this situation. We're able to take advantage of the situation. We can add a player now with rosters increasing that gives us something to add a little more grit. Somebody that has some experience, still has an appetite for more as a young guy. He kind of fits the mold that we've talked about with players that we've brought in. He was available, and that's exciting that we were able to get him. So I'm looking forward to it. I've watched enough of him. I like his high compete, appetite to be really aggressive, physically aggressive, and as I mentioned, likes to play gritty. So nice addition.
He played some of his best hockey in the NHL in Florida under Joel. He runs a system very similar to the one that you guys have here. Did that give you some confidence, just knowing that skill set, he can play with the pace and the way that you guys like to play here?
It does. When I watch him, I see that he wants to play more aggressive. He has that in him. And so running through just edits the last little bit, there's a lot of intriguing things. I think it's fairness to him. We play a very aggressive style, and it's going to probably take him a little bit to adjust to that, or adjust to it. As you mentioned, I think he's played that in prior systems in the NHL, which is a really good thing, and that should speed it up. Obviously, time's of essence here with the season where it is, limited practice time, but he has it in him to play the style we want, which is really nice. And I also think, when you watch these players, you can see areas that they can make real quick improvements to their own game. They get into the league and you just try to survive, especially a player that's been to different teams, and you just try to just conform to what the coach wants and the organization wants out of you. And through that process, you're accumulating a lot of experience, but you're playing to almost not make a mistake because you've moved around a little bit. And I watch and I see him that he's got a great foundation and base now of experience, and now we'd like to turn his attention to, okay, what does this mean? This means you're now ready to do more at the NHL level. And I think when I look at him, I see opportunity there. Which is, if you ask me what's intriguing for me, that's intriguing for me, because I think there's more within him that he can get to in a short time.
Is it difficult to get guys integrated into the system faster this time of year because of the schedule and all that?
That is the challenge. As far as how difficult that is, only time will really tell. I don't want to jump into that with a preconceived notion, oh my God, it's going to take this long or that long. I think each case is unique, each guy's different, and sometimes it's if we look at just trying to integrate a guy like Tyson Jost, or we talk about Peyton Krebs, you can put him between two guys like Zemgus Girgensons and Kyle Okposo, as we did with Jost and Krebs. Those guys are stabilizing influences, which can help that adjustment better. If your team's playing better, that adjustment could be quicker. So there's lots of different elements that go in at different times that you can use or maybe aren't at your disposal. So for in this case, obviously first obstacle is immigration before we can get him integrated, and then there'll be a little bit of video work. We won't have a lot of practice time, but so much of our system, as many others, is playing as a pair. And how we want to be aggressive and kill plays. You can't do that alone. And so you really have to get a feel for playing together as a pair of defensemen, the way and style we want to play. And, that time will tell. We'll see where he's at, and hopefully quicker than shorter.
I apologize. With Florida claiming Casey, are you glad to add now to your defensive depth? I mean, that obviously took a defenseman away from you. Are you glad now that you've been able to add to your defensive depth?
Definitely. Absolutely. We obviously did not want to lose Casey. I mentioned that right out of the gate. And you put a guy in waivers, you don't want to lose him. So this is a nice acquisition. He does fit the profile that we want. The expense of it, especially this time of the year, and July 1st, everybody's talking about the big guys and the big moves, and we as an organization have been just make sure we keep moving forward, and by virtue of our age, by virtue of our young skill, we know we're not in a situation where we're desperate to make a big move. We're getting better every day. So the experience we can allow our young guys to immerse in right now, competing for a playoff spot, means these young guys will be better next week than they were this week because they're playing more intense hockey and they've never experienced that. And so to keep bringing in people to bump them out and they don't get that experience means they don't develop, and it may stunt their development. So we've even last year at the trade deadline, that was our approach. We could have brought in guys, we could have unloaded guys, but Kevin said, he let that locker room know a year ago that, hey, I have confidence in you that you guys are going to have a great stretch run after the trade deadline. We didn't feel we needed to make any big moves, and it turned out to be the best move of all, was not to make any big moves. The same thing with the summertime, and here we are as one of the top scoring teams in the league and continue to show signs of growth, and this is a growth opportunity. We don't want to boot somebody out to take that ice time away from growth opportunity unless it's impactful and it doesn't jeopardize our progress. I think Kevin's been really consistent with that, and I think our team has been consistent with that as a result.
Don, I got a big picture question for you. So it's kind of become a 4-3 league versus 3-2. The last 2 years, the goals have gone up. You guys are obviously embracing that. Your playing style, aggressive, as you mentioned earlier. You want your players to play fearless, etc. I wonder how much of that is you adapting to the times, and how much of it is at the core of sort of your coaching philosophy from, say, 5-10 years ago.
For us, it's a deliberate, I don't really care what the rest of the league is doing other than our next competitor. I'm not worried about what anybody else is doing. I know we're focused on how we get these guys better and more impactful within a game, and let's face it, you try to score goals, and so how do you score more? And obviously the other side of that is how do you give up less, but the one thing I know for certain, no one fears a defensive team. Coaches and teams have to strategize, and you can put people on their heels when they know you can score on them, and that commands respect. And again, I don't diminish the defensive side of the game. I don't overlook the defensive side of the game. I think our defensive challenges are youth. We don't have a problem defending. We have a problem turning pucks over at times and not making great decisions with the puck. But defending, I'm comfortable we're as good as any other team in that regard. But yes, it's a deliberate, and it will be a deliberate focus always. It's always been that of my coaching, and guys want to score, and it's a lot more fun to watch. Fans want to be entertained, and so from the outset, yes, I think a couple of years ago we were dead last in scoring in the NHL. Now we're fighting. We're very close to first in the NHL in scoring, just tiny percentage points away, and yeah, that's by design and by effort by our guys.